Hi, I'm Rod with Fun-Tronics, and today we're going to show you how to wire up your compressor using a wiring harness from Fun-Tronics. We get a lot of customers have questions on which wires go to where on this. It does come with a wiring diagram. So with our wiring harness here, I already have mine screwed down to the block and with the ground wire attached. So that's the first thing you do. I had done this shroud, which Fun-Tronics sells the shroud. I've already installed that. Then we sell the new fan motors, the evaporator motor, and we sell the new thermostat, which these items I already have mounted on my compressor. Those are all pretty straightforward to mount. From here, we're going to get into the wiring part, and that's what my main part of this video is, to show you where to run your wires on your compressor. So on your wiring diagram, it shows right here thermostat, which is this block right here. That's the first one we're going to start with. So we're going to take the one we just showed, we're going to run up here to thermostat, and it plugs in right to the back. So now we're going to take the next one that shows on our wiring diagram here that says it goes to the upper evaporator fan motor, which is, it shows the ends like this that it has, and then we have our wire that's coming out back there. So this is what we're going to connect together. For now, we're just going to wire tie these together because when we actually install this in our machine, you may want to shorten your distance of this, to adjust your height, and then we'll get to that and I'll show you how I hardwire this back together permanently once we get to that point. Okay, so we're going to snip these two wires here, these ends off, because we're not going to use these. We're going to strip them. And we're going to take the two coming back from the evaporator motor. We're just going to wire tie them together for now. So now we should have our evaporator motor wired up. Then we'll move on to wiring up our fan motor down here at the bottom. We're going to work on wiring that up next. So now we're going to take this wire, it looks like a lamp cord, which is including a wiring harness. We're going to wire it from there we're going to wire their fan motor in down here. So what you're going to do is you're going to untie this here, like so. Take it apart. You're not going to use all of it. You're just going to use a short bit of it. And what you don't use left over from this, I sometimes wire this for my light on the back of my door down to this later on when it's in the machine, which I'll show you later on that you can use that for. So keep that, don't throw it away. So this just plugs in there for now. And then we're going to cut it to length to fit into here, which I'll show you here in a second how we're going to wire that up. So now we're going to cut this to length we think we need to go from here. And you got to go inside that box and you got to split your two wires apart. So give yourself enough length, you can always cut it shorter. So we're going to cut ours about off there. And then split these two wires apart. Use a razor blade to get started. So now I pull these apart, which you have to run them. Your cover goes on like so. So you got to run these through here. So I run this one through the bottom. And when you put your cover on, you got to, one wire is going to go up and one wire is going to go down. So I've got them cut plenty long, so I'm going to shorten just a little bit. For that. Then you have your wire coming from your compressor over here. It's going to go into the other hole here. That's your compressor fan motor. It's coming in here also. So again, you want to adjust the length of your wires to where you think you're going to need them, which, you can kind of tell. So we're going to splice that one. We're going to strip them. And then we strip all these. All Our next step is we're going to put some wire terminals on the end of these, and I'll show you that. So now we're going to put our wire terminals on our ends and clamp them down. So just do all 4 of those. Just like so. So they look like that when you're done with all 4 of them. So you have your 2 wires from your compressor motor down here, fan motor, coming in the top. And then you have this plug here, 2 wires coming in here at the bottom. So what you're going to do is you're going to take 1 from each one. So you're taking 1 wire from this one, 1 wire from your plug. The first set is going to go up here to your overload, up here at the top. And then you take 1 from each of the other ones and go to the bottom, down to the bottom, which is your start relay. So we're going to hook those up, and I'll show you what that looks like here when I get them hooked up. So I got a wire from the plug, and I got a wire from the evaporator motor. Got my brass screw, going to run through both of them. So your top one's secure. Now you're going to take 1 again from here, 1 from there, and those 2 are going to go down here to the very bottom. That one's a little trickier to get down there to the very bottom. So these 2 here are going down at the bottom onto your start relay down here at the very bottom. There's a little brass screw down here. We'll get them started and hopefully get them screwed in. Okay, so we have the top one hooked up. We have a wire coming from the compressor fan motor, and we've got a wire coming from the plug coming to here. Then we have another wire coming from the fan motor and from the plug coming down to the bottom down here. So now we're going to try to tuck our wires in here. That's why it's important not to get your wires too long so you don't have too much wires in there. So you can get your cover to come back on. And you want to get your screw, match your hole up. Today we are going to finish our short clip on how to wire up our machine using the wiring harness from Fun-Tronics. We have our diagram here we start with. Shows our block. We took our block, we mounted it down here to the base. We took our ground wire, mounted our ground wire. We took our extra plug wire that comes with the wire set. It plugs into here. Wires into the side of the compressor. We use the extra length of that wire to hook to our ballast and our wiring in our door and come down. And here it is. We have not hooked it up yet. It's blank yet. Then we have the square plug that we took up to our thermostat, which is marked thermostat, comes up here, runs down the thermostat into the block. Then we have these 2 here, which we cut, which goes to the evaporator fan motor, which is this one. We temporarily wired them earlier. So we're going to finish connecting them, hardwiring them now, that we can cut this to the length that we need it. So all that's left on our block shows right here, these 2 wires here, which has this round nub. We're going to cut that off, and that's our power that's going to connect to our door. So we're going to do that real quick, and then we'll show you what it looks like when we're done here. So I've snipped the round plug off here. I've stripped my wires. And what I like to do when I wire connect mine is I like to use the shrink tubing, which I'll put up on there before I put my ends on. Run that up there. Put my ends on here. Crimp them. Crimp those. Now we're going to connect them down here to where we cut the round plug off. Like I said, again, this is the wire that goes up to your power in your main door. Okay. Now that they're crimped, I'll run my shrink tubing over it, like so. Take my heat gun. So now our main door is connected to our power block, which was the round plug we cut off. Now next we're going to hardwire these, cut these length, and we're going to hardwire our evaporator fan motor. Okay, so now we have our evaporator wires permanently attached here. The wires cut the length. That one's going up to our thermostat here, so they're all right here. Remove these 2 screws. We're going to install our cover here, which goes right here. And behind our cover, I use this plumber's putty. That's what I put behind it so no air gets up between. So I'll do this real quick and show you what it looks like when I get it finished here. So we have our plate here installed, cover plate. We got our plumber's putty behind it. We got our wiring going up to the thermostat, evaporator fan motor. We got everything zip tied nice and neat in here. We got our wire ran up into the door here. So wiring harness is all finished now. Close our machine up. It's pretty much ready to go other than the backing plate, but then we'll plug it in, we'll test it, make sure the light comes on, and that's it.